I'm here in North Carolina with a big, huge river behind me and the GMC Canyon on the side of me. I'm here for a couple days to take it on and off road. But first, before we do that, here's a little bit of information on this midsize truck. The Canyon is now entering its third generation, and I'll say it's entering with some style. The front fascia gets a redesign with trimmed out corners for obstacle overtaking, a wider track and lengthened wheelbase, more muscular styling, and will now be offered exclusively with a crew cab and short box 5-foot bed configuration that includes 8 standard tie downs. I think the Canyon's new aggressive front fascia looks great, but let us know what you think down in the comment section. In the past, the Canyon shared many similarities with its GM sibling, the Chevy Colorado, without justifying its higher price tag over the bow ties model. But GMC is looking to change that with trim-specific interiors that can either bring out the rugged side or luxury persona of the Canyon. There will be 4 trim levels: Elevation, AT4, Denali, and for the first time, the more off-road capable AT4X. All trims get at least 9.6 inches of ground clearance and all-terrain tires. For those planning on taking this pickup truck off-road, it has a 33.3 degree approach angle, 22.3 degree departure angle, and a 20.9 degree breakover angle. But despite all of the exterior changes, room in the interior hasn't changed much. Hopping in the front seat, I'm 6'4", and I can actually slide in relatively easy, but it may be a little bit harder for someone shorter than me. They may have to grab the steering wheel because the step-in height is pretty tall. But once you get in here, the steering wheel feels really nice. It's nice and adjustable. I wish it went up just a little bit higher for me, but that's fine. And I got some good leg room and decent headroom. But if I were to wear a hat or a helmet, it may graze the headliner, but the seating is comfortable. I could go pretty far back on the tracks, and it has good lumbar support. And materials around the cabin actually feel pretty good, except for the outboard armrest. It's pretty hard, but the inboard, not so much. I think the driver's seat is a good place to be. And if you plan on riding in the back of the Canyon, don't be in back of a tall guy and you're a tall guy yourself. My knees were digging into the back of the front seats and I had a decent amount of headroom, but you should sit behind someone that's not freakishly tall. That way you can have some leg space. My feet fit under the seat pretty well. It's comfortable, albeit a bit upright, but at least you have your AC vents here and USB-A and USB-C ports with a household plug right here. And a pretty soft armrest, but yeah, that one's still hard. Despite the hard armrest, the Canyon has a decently appointed interior through the lineup. There are still some hard plastics to be found on lower levels, but at least now there's a standard 11.3-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and 8-inch digital gauge cluster. That large infotainment screen can display an available 10 different camera angles now used on the Canyon, which includes a segment-first underfloor camera that faces forward, backward, and can wash itself. The interior layout in the Canyon looks great. The digital gauge cluster is nice and clear and displays pertinent information, especially when you're going off-roading. And this large infotainment screen, I gotta say, it's really snappy. The resolution is nice and clear. You get tangible buttons and knobs for your HVAC controls, which is always good. And you get a button to roll down all your windows, your start-stop cutoff, and an auxiliary switch in case you want to hook up some auxiliaries. All Canyons come with a standard 2.7-liter turbo high-output engine with 310 horsepower and best-in-class 430 foot-pounds of torque, allowing the Canyon to have a max towing capacity of up to 7,700 pounds. That's linked to an 8-speed automatic transmission with 4-wheel drive on all but the base elevation trim, which has rear-wheel drive. In spite of having all-terrain tires, let's see how the Canyon handles being a day-to-day driver. So I'm driving the Canyon AT4 trim on just regular paved roads, and I gotta say the first thing that pops out is how quiet the cabin is. There's not a lot of road noise coming inside, even though we have mud terrain tires on this thing, and I think that's actually pretty nice. Steering is relatively light and you do get a fair bit of body roll, but I mean that comes with having over 9 inches of ground clearance. It's relatively direct. And the suspension does a great job soaking up bumps, even with no payload in the back. The brakes, they operate really gently. They grab right on tip in, and it's relatively easy to come to a smooth, complete stop with nobody in back of you in the middle of nowhere in Asheville, North Carolina. And then from a dead stop, let's test out that horsepower and torque. Yeah, I mean, it has a significant amount of power. You could get up to speed relatively quickly. I mean, it's not a drag race, but as far as the engine noise, I don't know. They made the 4 cylinders sound a bit more aggressive and grunty, but I think I prefer a V6. Where fuel economy numbers are concerned, a rear-wheel drive Canyon gets 20 miles per gallon in combined driving, which is actually less than the outgoing V6 model from the last generation. And if you've guessed that 4-wheel drive Canyons are less efficient, you're right, and slightly less with mud terrain tires. Going into this right turn, I'll address that the seating in the cabin is relatively comfortable. The seats hold me in place pretty nice. The visibility is actually quite clear, straight ahead and over my left shoulder. Over my right shoulder is pretty decent. The belt line kind of angles up towards the back, but overall, visibility and comfort inside is pretty nice. Keeping you safe in the Canyon are standard safety features that include 6 airbags, automatic emergency braking, forward collision alert, front pedestrian braking with bicyclist detection, and lane keep assist with lane departure warning. So if you do plan on keeping the Canyon on paved roads, it does a relatively good job, even with the mud terrain tires. You have a quiet cabin, you have some good tech, some great safety tech, and you have loads of power. So if you want to tow anything, go camping, go anywhere, this can do that. For those looking to tackle adventurous trails, spoiler alert, the Canyon AT4X does a fine job at that. With 10.7 inches of ground clearance, a 36.9 degree approach angle, 33-inch tires, Multimatic DSSV dampers, and 10 different camera angles, this rig can provide a good time. So I'm off the pavement now and I'm off-roading in the AT4X. And I gotta say, this is where this little truck belongs. The suspension does a great job soaking up the imperfections while off-roading. It doesn't transfer a lot of jostling motion into the cabin. These are Multimatic dampers, and I think it's doing a really good job holding the Canyon together. So going through this path here, thanks to over 10 inches of ground clearance in the AT4X, I mean, it's making it seem real easy.
If anyone want to experience hill descent control.
Right now I'm riding in 4 high, and this truck still has gobs of torque to get me in and around a dirty and muddy path. It's almost like it's effortless. Going through these narrow paths, the top-down camera really does help because it lets me know how much space I have on my left side and on my right. And also, it just shows if there's any huge rocks in front of me as well. I can see the path in front of me, and I can even see who's behind me, making sure they don't get too close. Right now I have hill descent control activated. I'm gonna go up to 5 miles an hour, and hill descent control is exactly what it sounds like. It's giving you control down this hill, and it's going at a steady 5 miles an hour. You can adjust it to whatever you're comfortable with. Right now, I think this is fine for me because it's kind of bumpy and narrow, but that's what it does. Some useful tools to help along the trail are the use of the front and rear e-lockers, skid plates, different drive modes, and the AT4X exclusive Baja drive mode. So right now I'm getting instructions on how to power through this huge mud pool. They want me to do that? So let's see if the Canyon can handle it.
All right, ready for this?
Yeah.
As soon as you roll down, you floor it.
Got it.
And you keep going. Whenever you're ready.
All right, 1, 2, 3. No better time than now. So it looks like the Canyon could get you out of a tough spot. Pricing for the Canyon starts at just under $37,000 plus destination, and that includes the standard features mentioned earlier plus 18-inch wheels, keyless entry, push-button start, cloth seating, single-zone climate control, and rear vents with a USB port. Move up to the AT4 trim for 18-inch wheels, LED fog lights, red recovery points, dampened tailgate with multi-stow storage compartment, box-mounted power outlet, heated front seats, power driver's seat, and dual-zone climate control. If you're looking for luxury, the Denali trim includes 10.7 inches of ground clearance, a chromier exterior, 20-inch wheels with available 22s, adaptive cruise control, blind zone steering assist, spray-on bed liner, 5-inch assist steps, 11-inch gauge cluster, 6-inch head-up display, wireless charging, Bose sound system, ventilated leather front seats, heated steering wheel, and a sunroof. But if you're looking to have some adventure time, the new off-road capable AT4X trim starts at just under 57 grand. When you're ready to purchase a GMC Canyon of your own or any other mid-size pickup truck, go on kbb.com and get a fair purchase price. That way you can save some money on your purchase and buy some s'mores or camping gear. Go to kbb.com, click the link above for more details. Competitors going up against the Canyon include the popular Toyota Tacoma, redesigned Nissan Frontier, Ford Ranger, Honda Ridgeline, and the less expensive Chevy Colorado. But the Canyon presents buyers with not only capability, but also luxury options. So if you're ever in the market for a mid-size pickup truck with capability, brawny and aggressive looks, and some pretty decent tech, well, you should put the GMC Canyon on your list. But if you're looking for a river, that one's mine. I already called dibs.